The concept of the Holy War is a complex and controversial one. It is often associated with religious extremism and violence, but it has also been used to justify wars of liberation and self-defense. In the context of the Islamism and Judaism conflict, the concept of the Holy War has been used by both sides to justify their actions. Islamists believe that they are engaged in a jihad, or holy war, against the enemies of Islam. Jews believe that they are fighting a war of survival against those who seek to destroy them. The Holy War. The notion of the Holy War is rooted in the religious beliefs of both Islam and Judaism, as in many other religious traditions. In Islam, the concept of jihad is derived from the Quran and the Hadith. The Quran teaches that Muslims have a duty to fight against those who oppress them and who seek to destroy their faith. The Hadith provides additional guidance on the conduct of jihad, including the rules of war and the treatment of prisoners of war. In Judaism, the concept of the Holy War is rooted in the Torah and the Talmud. The Torah teaches that the Jews have a right to self-defense and that they are allowed to fight in wars that are necessary for their survival. The Talmud provides additional guidance on the conduct of war, including the rules of engagement and the treatment of non-combatants. The Lebensraum. Masked by the idea of a holy war, the problem of land, or vital space, or Lebensraum, in the region, along with the access to natural resources, are also major factors in the conflict between Palestinians and Jews. Both groups have a deep historical and religious connection to the land, and both have claims to sovereignty over it. The Palestinians are the indigenous people of the region, and they have lived there for thousands of years. The Jews have a long history in the region as well, dating back to the biblical era. However, they were expelled from the region in the 2nd century AD by the Romans, and they did not return in large numbers until the late 19th century. The problem of land is a complex one, with no easy solution. Both sides have legitimate claims to the land, and both sides have suffered greatly as a result of the conflict. It is important to find a solution that respects the rights of both sides and allows them to live in peace and security. The conflict. The Islamism and Judaism conflict is a complex and long-standing one. It is rooted in historical, religious, and political differences between the two groups. The conflict began in the early 20th century with the rise of Zionism, a movement that sought to establish a Jewish homeland in Palestine. Zionists believed that Palestine was the Jewish homeland and that the Jews had a right to return there. However, Palestine was also home to a large Arab population, and many Arabs opposed the Zionist movement. In 1948, the State of Israel was established in Palestine. This led to the First Arab-Israeli War, in which Israel defeated its Arab neighbors. The war also led to the displacement of hundreds of thousands of Palestinians, who became refugees. The Islamism and Judaism conflict has continued since the establishment of Israel. There have been numerous wars and conflicts between the two sides, including the Six-Day War, the Yom Kippur War, and the Second Intifada. The Holy War and the Islamism and Judaism conflict. Islamists extremists believe that they are engaged in a jihad against the enemies of Islam. They see Israel as an illegitimate state and as a threat to Islam. They believe that it is their duty to fight against Israel and to liberate Palestine. Jews believe that they are fighting a war of survival against those who seek to destroy them. They see the Islamists as a threat to their existence and to the State of Israel. They believe that it is their duty to defend themselves and to defeat the Islamists. The idea of the Holy War is a powerful one that can be used to justify both violence and peace. It is important to understand how this concept is used by both sides in the Islamism and Judaism conflict in order to find a peaceful resolution to the conflict. The extreme war. The vast majority of Palestinians are victims of terrorism, just like the Israeli people. The terrorist attacks carried out by Palestinian extremists are not representative of the Palestinian people as a whole. In fact, the vast majority of Palestinians condemn and reject these attacks, which have killed and injured thousands of innocent civilians, including Palestinians themselves. Palestinians, like all people, want to live in peace and security. They want to raise their families and build a better future for themselves. Like people in the West, they also reject extremism and want to build a world of peace and harmony for all. The Holy War in other religion traditions. The concept of the Holy War is also used in other religious traditions, such as Christianity and Hinduism. However, the concept is particularly significant in the context of the Islamism and Judaism conflict because of the historical, religious, and political tensions between the two groups to this day. It is also important to note that the concept of the Holy War is often misunderstood and misinterpreted. We must remember that the Holy War is not simply a call to violence. It is also a call to justice, peace, and righteousness. The zero-sum game. The conflict over land in the region is often described as a zero-sum game, meaning that any gain for one side is necessarily a loss for the other. However, there are other ways of thinking about the problem. For example, some experts have argued that the conflict could be resolved by creating a shared state or confederation in which both Palestinians and Jews would have equal rights. Others have suggested that the two sides could agree to divide the land into two separate states, with one state for Palestinians and one state for Jews. There are many challenges to finding a solution to the conflict over land in the region. However, it is important to remember that both sides have a shared interest in peace and security. It is in the best interests of both Palestinians and Jews to find a way to resolve the conflict and to build a better future for all. Holy War and spirituality. The concept of holy war is a paradox. On the one hand, many religions preach a message of love and compassion for all beings. On the other hand, holy war is based on hatred and violence. One possible explanation for this paradox is that religions were founded in a time when violence was more common and accepted. In order to survive and thrive, religions needed to justify their use of violence. The concept of holy war provided a way to do this. Another possible explanation is that the concept of holy war has been misinterpreted and misused by extremists to justify their own personal agendas or to gain power and control. Whatever the reason for the paradox, it is clear that the concept of holy war is incompatible with the message of love and compassion that is preached by many religions. The vast majority of religious people do not support or condone holy war. In fact, they are often the victims of holy war, which has killed and injured millions of innocent people. The future of spirituality. We read and watch movies about the religious wars of the Middle Ages, such as the Crusades, and are appalled by the level of violence, hatred, and killing perpetrated in the name of faith. We are not surprised by these events, which occurred centuries ago. But how can it be that such atrocities are still happening in the 21st century, with all our advances in technology, science, welfare, law and order? It is astonishing to witness the recent atrocities that humans inflict upon each other. But who are we when we resort to violence over a sporting event or a car accident? Will we still be killing each other over our differences, whether belief system, race, color, or soccer team, 1,000 years from now? Is this who we are? Can we ever change, evolve into a superior being, and leave behind all of this hatred and violence? Do you believe we will be better people in the future? Please, write your comments below. If you like the content of this video, also please give it a thumbs up, subscribe and share.